things of this world. I will lay them at your feet. Surrender every anxious thought. Oh, perfect peace, your perfect peace. Yeah, all the loved ones I hold dear. All my hopes and all my fears, I choose to trust your name in everything, in everything. Sing it out this morning, come on. Oh, I will look up, for there is none above you. I will bow down to tell you that I need you, Jesus, Lord of all. Jesus, Lord of all. Yeah. I will take you at your word. Jesus, you have taken hold of me. All my life is in your hands. You are my strength. You are my strength. Yeah. I will look up, for there is none above you. I will bow down to tell you that I need you, Jesus, Lord of all. I will look back and see that you are faithful. I look ahead, believing you are able, Jesus, Lord of all. Jesus, Lord of all. NCC. Good morning, Nebraska Christian College. Yeah, welcome. So this is the end, guys. Wow. We got some rejoicing over there, yes. Last chapel of the semester. We have the opportunity to stand together and hear each other sing and be encouraged by this amazing expression of worship. So we're just going to continue on in that this morning. Join us. Walking around these walls, I thought by now they'd fall, but you have never failed me yet. Waiting for change to come, knowing the battle. You have never failed me yet. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, your faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never I know the night won't last. Your word will come to pass. My heart will sing your praise again. Oh. Jesus, you're still enough. Keep me within your love. My heart will sing your praise again. Oh, your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, your faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This my confidence. You never failed me. Yeah. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness. Your faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never failed me. Never will forget. Never failed me yet. Never will Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves at 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. When I was your foe, still your love fought for me. You have been so, so good to me. Oh, you paid it all for me. Yeah. You have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves at 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, but still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. No shadow you won't light, mountain you won't climb, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Yes. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Yeah. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Yeah. think sometimes we take for granted just being here. I think it's really easy to see the end of the tunnel and think that it's the light. But sometimes we just take a second and realize that what we have here in this room is special. Graduation is in a week, and I'm done. But it ended so fast, you know? Friendships that we make here will last forever. Relationships built here will speak into your life forever. I don't think it has anything to do with this space. I think it has to do with the people. I think what makes this holy ground is the feet of the church. It's special. Let's just sing about this holy ground. Jesus, you change everything. Lives healed, hope is found here and now. Jesus, you change everything. Chains fall, fear bow here right now. Oh, Jesus, you change everything. Lives healed, hope found here and now. Jesus, you change everything. Oh, you restore, you redeem, you make us whole. That's your name, I know chains, they fall and fear bows here right now. Jesus, you change everything. Lives healed, hope found here and now. Jesus, you change everything. Oh, you change everything. You change everything. So show us your glory. Show us your glory. In wonder and surrender, we fall down. And show us your glory. Show us your glory. Let every burning heart be holy ground. Chains fall, and fear bow here now. Oh, Jesus, you change everything in lives healed, hope found here now. Jesus, you sing it one more time. Chains fall, chains, they fall, and fear will bow here right now. Oh, Jesus, you change everything, and lives are healed, hope is found, and here now. Jesus, you change everything. Jesus, let that be our prayer this morning. Let us believe that wholeheartedly, that it's by your power that we are saved, that we are healed. It's only by your power that we can do this, that we can make it through this life. God, I pray that you would just speak to us this morning in a new way, that you would just refresh our souls, restore us, and remind us of your heart. We love you and pray all these things in your holy name. Amen. You guys can take a seat.
I don't really want to be here right now. I'm a mess, actually. Palms are sweaty, and my stomach's all torn in. Truth is, I've been avoiding this moment for 4 years. One month and 10 days total, maybe a couple of minutes after that, because It was April 1st, 2014 that I last spoke at a chapel at Nebraska Christian College. And I didn't realize it'd be even this hard, but in the moment I'm kind of wishing I'd avoided it a little longer. Because I was about a week into working here, and I was asked to speak at chapel, and they said, just tell your story, and just keep it low key. So I did that, and it went fine, I guess. But you quickly realize around here, right, that there are people that are experts at this stuff. People that are really good at leading worship and preaching and stuff like that. And I just knew I wasn't that person. I knew I'd never be able to, talk about this like some people or tell stories like other people. And how can I really say anything that's new or interesting based on the fact that we've been doing this for just this year? We've had this is like our 60th chapel this year, 30 of them this semester, and this is our 15th chapel on the book of Exodus. And I have to wrap it up. So, what's left to be said, really, right? But all that, and the fact that I'm having a hard time right now is actually just evidence that I've put way too much value on my performance. I thought I'd get better at some point, but it's not. My entire life, I have lived that way. I have thought that if I was good at reading the Bible, then God would like me. And that if I was wow. That if I could pray really well or a lot, Jesus would be, happy with me. And if, I could journal, I would be so close to God. But the truth is, I'm not that good at reading the Bible regularly, quiet time. I don't pray like I should, and I suck at journaling. That's just the truth. Who's with me? I suck at it. Thank you. I got journals, stacks of journals on my shelves, all of them filled to 3 to 5 pages, you know what I mean? I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do this. I'm going to journal. And then I need a new one to start fresh, next year. Never works out. But I've realized the last couple of years, and I went through some counseling to figure this out, actually, God's not interested in my performance. What he really wants is my presence. And what's awesome, I think, about this semester in the book of Exodus is that God's been setting this up. I think this moment we're going to talk about the entire book of Exodus. And I think because it's the last chapel and because we've been talking about Exodus for a long time, I think we need to just quickly review. Okay, let's take a 30,000-foot view of Exodus really quick, because it'd be easy to miss the big picture of what's happening, or just forget in the moment that this is what's been happening. So, really quick, let's just remember, right? The beginning of Exodus, God saw his people in slavery, right, in Egypt, and decided it was time to change that. And he called Moses through a burning bush and asked him to be the leader, to lead his people out of slavery in Egypt. So Moses begrudgingly does that. He goes to Egypt. He goes to Pharaoh. He says, hey, let my people go. That's what God says. And Pharaoh says, no. And then they do that a bunch of times, like 10. And God sends 10 plagues after each of those times to remind Pharaoh who's in charge, right? That God's in charge, not Pharaoh. And then finally, the last plague is the killing of the firstborn son, and Pharaoh loses his firstborn son, and all the Egyptians do, except for the Israelites, because they painted the blood of the lamb on the doorpost, right? And so they do all that. And finally, Pharaoh says, fine, please leave. And here's a bunch of stuff. Hurry up, get out of here. And so they leave. They plunder the Egyptians, and they leave, and they head towards the Red Sea. And that's, of course, when Pharaoh changes his mind and sends an army after them to stop them, to bring them back to be slaves, because that's, the entire workforce has been happening over there in Egypt. So he says, forget it. Go get them. I want them back. And God, opens the Red Sea, and the Israelites pass through, and then the Egyptians tried to pass through, but then God stops parting the Red Sea, and he drowns everybody. And it's epic and weird and crazy. And then the Israelites make it through, right? And so they're in the wilderness, and they're kind of wandering around, and they're trying to figure out how this works, and they're complaining, and they run out of water, and God provides, and they run out of food, and God provides, and they run out of water again, and God provides. And what else happened in there? I forget. A bunch of stuff. But they eventually end up at Mount Sinai, right? And that's where we kind of landed just recently. I think last week even, Moses goes up on the mountain to receive from God, like the Ten Commandments, what we know as the Ten Commandments, but a bunch of other stuff about how to live rightly as his kids. And then he comes down. Well, in the meantime, 3,000 people or so had said, hey, we should build a golden calf and do it like we did in Egypt, because that worked better, and there's apparently, maybe Moses is gone. So they try all that stuff, and then Moses actually came back, and that ended poorly. So all of that has happened now, and then they kill all those 3,000 people that did that. Like I said, it ended poorly, at least for them. So that all happens. And then we get to this kind of where we are here, and God, it wants to come down and be present with his people, but he needs a special place to do that. And so in Exodus 35, we read about all the things that God wants to have right. And he gives these instructions to Moses, and Moses is telling the people, and he gets a couple of artisans, right? People that are good at crafting stuff, and as appointed by God, and he tells them that, and those two guys lead a team of people to build all the stuff that God said to build in order to make this place special for him. And so they do all that stuff, and in 36, 37, 38, 39, those chapters of Exodus, as we near the end, they're setting all this, they're building it all, and they're setting it all up. So in 40, they set up the tabernacle. This is going to be a place where God dwells, and it's got to be special, it's got to be right, and so they do it all. And in Exodus 40, verse 33, it says, then Moses set up the courtyard around the tabernacle and altar and put up the curtain at the entrance to the courtyard. And so Moses finished the work. And then in 34, then the cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Moses could not enter the tent of meeting because the cloud had settled upon it, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Perhaps the entire book of Exodus is setting up this moment where God comes near with his people, and it's a huge deal. Think about who God is, how he created the entire universe, which sounds so big it's hard to fathom, so let's bring it down. He created people, you, me, all those Egyptians, and all those, he made it possible for them to be people. He created all the systems that were in place to like grow things and eat, right? I mean, life would not be possible without that God creating it from the beginning. And now this massive entity is going to come down, and he does come down, and puts his presence right into this little space. It's like the genie on Aladdin, okay? Phenomenal cosmic power, itty bitty living space. Like fireworks in reverse, he comes down into this place, right into a tent to be near his people. And that's what it's about. So if you're like me and thought that Christianity was a bunch of rules growing up, or you're still thinking that, let me just tell you you're wrong. It's not about that at all. It's about you being present with God. I had to think, I had to, like I said, I went to counseling a little bit to kind of figure this out in my own life. And one of the books I read was called The Cure. You should read it. It's short, easy read. And in there's an illustration. I mean, the whole book is like an illustration, but then within that, there's another illustration. And it talks about like this, like if you think that the rules and your sin from not following the right rules is this pile, right, of stuff between you and God, and like Jesus is on one side and you're on the other. That's how I viewed it. That's how I thought it would, and I had to reduce the pile by doing the right things and not doing the wrong things in order for us to be able to see each other and have any chance to like be together. But that's not the way it is at all. He's on the same side of the pile as you are, and he's got his arm around you, and he says, "Yeah, I see that. We'll deal with that. But right now, let's just be together." That's what it's about. That's all it's about. I want to move on, but I don't want to move on because I don't want to pass that and let you think that there's more to it, because there's not. That's where it starts. That's all there is to it. You've got to see yourself on the same side with him. He's not against you. He's not waiting for you. He's right there. And he just wants to be present with you. And that's what he was doing here, even way, way back, right, in Exodus, however many years ago, and he's coming down to be with his people. And so he does that. But you're thinking maybe easier said than done, right? Easier said than done. I've got this stuff. It's just that's a big mindset shift I have to make. So how do I do that? And at risk of prescribing anything on you, here's a couple of thoughts. You have to, if you're going to experience the presence of God, you have to position yourself to experience the presence of God. What do you mean? Well, I think again, this is really based out of my own experience. You got to slow down sometimes. I'm running too fast most of the time, and it's really hard to slow down and just be present. That's why I love when we're in here, because it kind of forces us to take a minute, take a few minutes, focus on God, worship, receive something hopefully. But even there, right, how are you positioning yourself in a chapel service or anywhere else to receive? If you're sitting here because you have to, then you're probably not going to experience the presence of God. But if it's more than a requirement, if it's an opportunity to you, then you're starting to position yourself to be in the presence of God. I think also we just have to do our best to remove distractions from our life. Man, that's hard, isn't it? Man, that's hard. And I am so tired of people blogging and talking about this generation and the phones and the whole thing, right? But and the truth is, I use mine a ton. And the truth is, I've texted during chapel, okay? I've Instagrammed during chapel, Okay, I've done it. Some of you are doing it right now. It's okay. But it's not okay if you're going to position yourself to be in the presence of God. So which one's more important? You know, you have to make it a priority at some point. So put your phone down. You know, it's just too easy to get a text or whatever. I would also say, honestly, because of that same like genre of distraction, is you might need to get like a physical Bible and use it more often than you do your phone Bible, because it's too easy to get distracted. Because again, I'm on my phone in chapel, and then someone texts me, and I just have to respond right now, because if I don't, then the world's going to fall apart. So I do, right? Or I'm more concerned with getting a good picture of the speaker to put a nice caption on later so I can Instagram it. Because that's cool. So we got to slow down. We got to remove some distractions. We got to be in community, you know, with other people. You're not supposed to do this by yourself. So, you know, again, and this being the last chapel, we're about to enter a different context. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But, you know, church, small groups, worship music, you know, with some other people, worship settings. However it is, you can you know, be around other people that are doing the same thing. That will help you position yourself to be in the presence of God, okay? So just a couple of thoughts as you think that through and try to maybe shift your mindset a little bit. Finally, we also have to pursue the presence of God, because look at what happens next, right? After God fills the tabernacle, the glory of the Lord fills the tabernacle, and then in all the travels of the Israelites, it says in 36, whenever the cloud lifted from above the tabernacle, they would set out. But if the cloud did not lift, they would not set out until the day it lifted. So the cloud of the Lord was over the tabernacle by day, and fire was in the cloud by night, and in the sight of all the house of Israel during all their travels. Because after this, the Israelites as a people move around some more, and God dwells in this place, but they would pack it up and move it when the cloud moved, and they would have to follow the cloud. What an interesting concept, right? I mean, we can hardly even really grasp what that's like. But the idea that we can pursue the presence of God is powerful. So for some of you, this is your last chapel here at Nebraska Christian, and your journey is going to look very different over the ensuing months. And you're going to have to figure out what it looks like to pursue God in a different context. But you need to do it. You need to pursue the presence of God. All of us are about to end the year, and the summer is going to look different than it did during the semester, and there'll be no more chapel. There'll be no more house groups. There'll be no places built into your life for this. And you've got to find a way to pursue the presence of God. But the good news is that no matter where you go, we can position ourselves to be in the presence of God. We can pursue God by positioning ourselves and making Him a priority. You don't need this. You don't need the lights and the haze and the preaching, right? You don't need any of that to be in the presence of God or to pursue Him. So we're going to wrap up with a song here, but I just want you to promise me that for sure you'll get past the performance stuff before I did. I mean, I'm still struggling with that, right? Because it's not about that. It's about the presence of God in your life. So promise me, no matter where you go from here, no matter what you do from here, that you'll position yourself to be in the presence of God. Let me pray for us. God, it's so hard. It's so hard to stay in your presence. And we have a new beginning before us in a sense, God. It's like whatever's next is looming. And I don't know. You know, we don't know what's next exactly. But we know, I think we can agree, God, that we want to be in your presence. So I pray, God, all of these students, myself, professors, teachers, faculty, staff, we would not get consumed with our performance. We would not get too busy or distracted. Give us the courage, actually, God, to pursue your presence in our life. God, I just pray you'd pave the way. Give them obvious signs that you're speaking to them. Give them a place, a community in which to do this, God. We love you. We're trying to love you more. But we also acknowledge, God, in this moment, even in just saying that, we're trying to do something, God. It's not about us trying. It's about us being. Help us to be with you. Amen.
Clear the stage and set the sound and lights ablaze. If that's the measure you must take to crush the idols. Jerk the pews and all the decorations too, until the congregation's few, then have revival. Tell your friends that this is where the party ends, until you're broken for your sins and can't be so slow. And seek the Lord and wait for what he has in store, and know that great is your reward. So just be hopeful, 'cause you can sing all you want to. Yes, you can sing all you want to. You can sing all you want to and still get it wrong. 'Cause worship is more than a song. So take a break from all the plans that you have made and sit at home alone and wait for God to whisper. Beg him please to open up his mouth and speak, and pray for real upon your knees until they blister. Shine the light on every corner of your life until the pride and lust and lies are in the open. So read the word and put to test the things you've heard, until your heart and soul are stained and rocked and broken. 'Cause I can sing all I want to. Yes, you can sing all I want to. Yeah, I can sing all I want to and still get it wrong. Oh, worship is more than a song. Yeah, we must not worship something that's not even worth it. Clear the stage, make some space for the one who deserves it. Anything I put before my God is an idol, and anything I want with all my heart is an idol. And anything I can't stop thinking of is an idol. anything I give. Oh, my love is an idol. 'Cause I can sing all I want to. I can sing all I want to. I can sing all I want to. Still get it wrong. Oh, yes. I can sing all I want to. Lord, I pray it's real. Yes, I can sing all I want to. I can sing all I want to and still get it wrong. But my worship is more than a song. Pray over us today that our worship is more than what happens in this room. Clear the stage and set the sound and lights ablaze. If that's the measure it must take to crush the idols. It's been a good year. It's been a good semester. Go and realize that you don't have to worship only in this room, but everywhere you go. You're dismissed.